My name is Linda Bedinger, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'd like to show you how I made this card. This is another, using more of this beautiful paper in the Share What You Love suite that is pre-orderable through the end of the month. And this is a full sheet of this gorgeous paper. And I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but this paper is very heavy. It's thick paper, really nice quality. And isn't that just a beautiful pattern? And I thought this one would be fun. This, by the way, is a double pack. Share What You Love has 4 sheets of all of the 6 different designs in here. So you get 24 sheets when you get this paper. It's just a great amount of paper and plenty to do lots and lots of projects with. So I thought it would be kind of fun to put this, excuse me, together with some gold accents. What we need to make this card is I used a base of Whisper White 4.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. And I just realized this one is a top folding card, and this one we're going to make is a side folding card. Then I have a piece of mint macaron that is 4 1/4 by 5 3/8. Then I have a piece of gold that is 3 3/4 by 4 1/2. Then I have this pretty piece of the DSP, and this piece is 3 1/4 by 4. And I deliberately made this piece 4 inches so that when you're cutting a sheet this size, 4 inches means that you can get 3 cuts across this paper. And then this width on this one is 3 1/4. So 3 1/4, you can get 4 times 3. So you can get 12 panels out of one of these sheets of paper. So I try to make the cuts so that you get maximum use out of some of your designer series paper. So, and then I have 2 pieces of gold that are 1/4 inch by just a smidge under 5 1/2 for the inside of the card. And then I have a piece of scrap gold here to cut out my leaves, and it needs to be at least 3 by 3 3/4. And then I have a piece here that is some scrap mint macaron to do the happy birthday sentiment here. And then on the inside on this, what I did was I used those 2 little strips down either side, and then I embossed these flowers. So let me show you what it was I did to do all of this. First of all, here's my leaf die from the Petal Palette Suite dies. Then I'm using the Love What You Do stamp set here, and what I'm using out of here is this little floral piece here, and that is this little design on the inside. I wanted to bring some of the embossing inside. And then I used from Rose Wonder, I'm using this Happy Birthday from Rose Wonder, and I think that is all I'm using from this set. So, as is normally the case, I have already cut mine, and so I'm all ready to go with that. And so let's start by putting some of these pieces together and seeing what we're doing here. What I did on this piece is this is just adhered to the top of this. So we will go ahead and do that. I can't believe I let myself run out of Stampin' Up! Snail. So I have to wait now for an order. I went to my stash of extras and I can't believe I used them all. So I'll have more coming soon. Isn't that pretty? So there we go. We've got that piece done. then it is getting this piece to have enough adhesive on it. And I just used my snail. I went away on some of the pieces so that I was pulling the snail away from the center so I wouldn't damage my leaves. And I just put a little bit of snail all over the spray of leaves and then put that in place here, starting right down here in the corner and coming out and covering the front of that card piece. So there we have that. Another thing that I'm using is this 1/8 of an inch gold ribbon, and I went around this piece and then tied a bow. I went around this piece. Oops, I could use a little bit of snail on that one, I can see. I'm gonna add just a little bit and put that down. Okay, so what I did was I cut a piece of ribbon here that was long enough to go around my card and used my silicone mat to put a little adhesive on the back of that ribbon so that it will stay put where I want it. And I placed that right down about here on my card and then wrapped and tacked those pieces down behind. Then I took another piece of this ribbon and I tied a little bow, and I didn't want a very big one, just a little bow right here to put right in here. And so I'm going to trim off the edges of my bow and put that in place using a glue dot. So I'm going to take a glue dot and fold it over on itself, because this ribbon is very thin, and take that little piece off. Then I'm going to decide where I kind of want my bow and put it in place on top of the glue dot here, and then pull out my pierce tool, and that seems very secure. I don't, well, maybe I'll put one more down just to make sure. So what I'm going to do is fold this one also over on itself so that it's very thin, and the only place I felt a little bit of movement was just right in there. And so now that is down on the card, and that's not going anywhere. So that's what we have there. And then this piece is going to go on my card on dimensionals. It's actually quite a fast little card. Between the gold paper and the DSP, you have paper doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So there we go there. And this piece, this can just be adhered to our card front. So I will do that. And this piece is cut to have a very tiny border around this card. There we go, just a little bit of white peeking out. Then this piece is centered on the front of the card. Right here. And then we have a little bit of embossing to do. So I'm going to use my embossing buddy over this piece. And then I have my stamps mounted. I have my little flower from the stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that. Make sure we got plenty of Versamark on that. Right up here at the top. And there I've got my Versamark image. And then I have my pretty little happy birthday. It's got such a pretty little font here. I'm going to put this to the left. And on this one, it's important to line up the happy, not the birthday, because the happy, the way it's written, if you line up the birthday, your happy will be wonky. So if you line up the happy, on our paper here, there we go, and then I can set this away and bring in my gold embossing powder here, and I'm going to put embossing powder on both of these images and then heat set them at the same time. So there I have my happy birthday and my little set of flowers. And I'll bring in my heat tool and quiet the video. Okay, there we go. We have our embossing done. And so next, I'm going to bring up my trimmer so that I be sure and get a perfect cut. In fact, I'm going to trim just a tidge off the bottom of this sentiment, and then I'm going to see where I'm placing it here relative to the cut tool, and I'm going to cut my sentiment off. It ends up being right at 1 inch. And so on this one, what I'm going to do is cut off the end here, and I'm going to fishtail that end for a banner. There we go. And that piece is ready to go, and I will add a couple of dimensionals to the back of my banner and have that ready to go on the card. And on this little piece, what I'm going to do is just fussy cut around this image, and I'm not going to cut a lot of the detail out. And I'll speed up the video for this part. And part of the reason I left a lot of the mint macaron on there is because on the inside of the card, while we have a white background, we don't have any of the mint macaron showing. So I'm going to put these pieces on the inside, and I'm going to use just some snail on the back of these gold pieces. And what I did was I put it basically to go from the top to the bottom of the card, and with just ever so tiny a little border along the edge here, just inside the fold, the scoring for the fold there, and then on this end as well. And you could cut these pieces. If you do top folding like the original one I did, these need to be cut a little bit short so they don't interfere with the score line for the fold of the card at the top. But if you cut them, if you're doing a side folding card, you can actually cut them a little bit longer, and then you could trim them off for a perfect fit. So after I put those in place, I'm going to take our little set of flowers here and just put it right down on the inside. I think that's a lovely little decoration for the inside. Then on the sentiment, I'm going to put my banner in place just underneath this ribbon here and have the tails kind of come off the end of the card here. And made my ribbon look a little askew there. And there we go. That is the project for the day. So a really pretty fast card. Oh, there was something else I did put on here, and I'll grab them. And these metal enamel dots, because we didn't have any gold embellishments that were tiny. And I can tell you, from a sneak peek point of view, these are going away. And I think they're on either the clearance rack right now, or they're at a discount. And there's a bunch of items that have come out recently that are at a discount. And so you could load up on a few of these. And then I can tell you that they're being retired, but I took a peek at the catalog, and we're going to have something else in gold and silver that will take their place. So very much like Stampin' Up! Does, sometimes they make some things go away, but they always bring back something else that takes its place. You know, and on both of these, I think I'm going to put just one of these little pieces, maybe right down here next to the stem of the flower. Because they're enamel dots, they're not, their dimension is pretty small, so they're practically flat. So putting one here, you don't even feel it through the top of the card, so it doesn't affect mailing. So there we go. That is the project for today. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching my YouTube video today. I do so appreciate it. And this is available. The Rose Wonder stamp is still available in the catalog. The Petal Palette dies are still available. That bundle is still available in the old catalog until the end of the month, where you can get it at 10% off. And then this material is pre-orderable in that large bundle that's available, which gets you the paper and some of the sample cardstocks and some embellishments and some ribbon and 3 stamp sets and then a bunch of free items. It seems high, but there's a lot of value in it, especially with that double paper pack. In any case, that can be ordered, and these things can be ordered on my website, www.lbedinger.stampinup.net. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. And or you could join my team. I've recently had a few more people join, and I'm thrilled to have them. The details are below the video, along with my phone number if you'd like to chat. I'd love to have you join my team. Thanks so much again for visiting my YouTube channel today, and I'll be back soon with more projects and more cards. Bye!